Happy day after Thanksgiving Day. Happy thankful day. Every day is a day to give thanks, in my opinion. But on this video, I want to talk to you guys about why the perfect day will never come, right? And why every day really needs to be a day of gratitude and a day of intention, especially when you have desires, right? So welcome everyone. Welcome, come in. I'm looking super through, honey, because I had a whole hangover from food. The way that I ate yesterday, I have not eaten in years. So I felt it. And I see why all of the vegans say, like, don't be eating that stuff, because my body has never felt the way it felt. But I got some time, went to the gym, just getting back. So it's here, it's afternoon here. To be able to go to the gym midday is quite a privilege I'm grateful for, but that's freedom, right? That's what we're talking about, thriving. Okay? I am definitely coming for you, Collins. I'm coming for everyone that are like, oh, this time 2028, 2025. Well, that's in a month though. So 2025 is here, but there were so many people talking to me a couple months ago or 2 years ago about 2025, and they haven't even started their journey, right? So we're talking about why the perfect time will never come. Go ahead, let me know where you're joining from. Yes, Gym Nation, we get it in, because it was not perfect today. Like, it was not the perfect time. I was late, but I still went. Why? Because I'm committed to a goal, which is just wellness, right? Which is just keeping my mental state well, which is, I like to eat, so I have to work out because I have to do the best that I can to counteract what it means to just eat the way that I love to eat, y'all. I absolutely love to eat. And so I'm going to share some of my personal travel experiences, as well as, traveling with children, and how I was able to achieve this freedom and thriving, right? When there are so many excuses and so many reasons why we can say, oh, this isn't for me right now, or and I think this is going to be a different edge than what I typically talk about, but helpful nevertheless, because one of the biggest challenges that I hear is, how am I going to make money? Or, I have children, are they going to adapt, right? Or, I'm not in business and I don't really know what to do. I've never been abroad. I've never been to this country. And so we're going to dispel some of these things. All right. And so for those of you that are new to the community, I've been living on the continent of Africa for 4 years. I currently live in South Africa, Johannesburg to be exact. And prior to here, I was living in Tanzania. So it will be 2 years in January that I've been living in Johannesburg, South Africa. And it's been 4 years as of like a couple months that I've been living on the continent in whole. I came with my 2 daughters. My youngest was 2, my oldest was 9, and they're now 6 and 13. Yeah, that's the right math. And everybody was like, well, what are you going to do? How are the kids going to adapt? Why are you going to take them out? And listen, like, 4 years later, I'm so glad I did, because the more and more I look at what is happening for parents, it's just not for me, guys. It's just not for me. And it's okay if it's for you. That's fine, right? This is not a conversation to convince anyone. This is a conversation to affirm your desires and help you overcome the barriers that you currently are dealing with. All right. And so, I had not at the time started my digital business. So a lot of people ask me, how do you make money? What is my job? Well, when I first arrived on the continent, it was 2020. And so there were, I was laid off about a few months before that. So I was collecting unemployment, and I had, a decent savings at the time. It was like a 6-figure savings account. I was doing pretty well because I had learned financial, not readiness, discipline. Prior to, like, a few years before, I had really bad financial habits, right? But leading up to that moment, I was in a stay ready state, right? So they always say, get ready so you don't have to be ready, or be ready so you don't have to get ready. So I was a stay ready type of savings, investing, all of that. That was my norm. So when all of this was happening, I knew I had enough funds to make it work. And then I knew if it didn't work, I could always come back. But I had not established a business at the time, which nowadays there's no excuse. I didn't even know about digital businesses. I didn't even know about creating an online business. Fast forward to 4 years now, I have a digital business, a thriving business. When you DM me, you'll get an automation, right, that will tell you what I've been able to do and give you some resources, right? Because I have learned, based on listening to you all, what are your main concerns? What are your main issues, right? It's, where do I go? How much money do I need? And do you have any recommendations on where to stay? So I've created solutions around all three of those things. Travel guides, the expat expense, and my YouTube channel, right? And all of them have different tiers of pricing. And so when you're thinking about your life and your career or your expertise or your passion, people are always coming to you, asking you the same questions. This is how we start a digital business. Okay. So we'll talk a little bit more about that later, but I had no idea that this was a thing, but I did have fear, right? This is not like unrealistic. I had fear. I didn't know how it was going to work. I had never even been to East Africa before arriving in East Africa. I knew one person and her family, but I did know that worst case scenario, I would never be in a situation where I couldn't get back, right? So worst case scenario, I'm gonna save enough. I got enough money that if I need to go back, I will. So yes, I had fear. Yes, I had doubt. Yes, I had worry, but I had a financial cushion to say, worst case, I'm not going to run out of money. This is how much I need to be able to get back home. And I think, it was like $3,000, I think, was what I had like reserve, right? So, failing, not knowing where to start. I knew one person and I had resources online, YouTube. I don't necessarily recommend that nowadays, but there's so much information online that one shouldn't be too, there is no reason to say, I don't know, I can't find out. There's so much information online. So when we talk about not having enough money, or I'm afraid of failing, or I don't know where to start, there are resources online for free. Now, getting your money right is critical. And that's why we talk about getting into the digital business space, the digital products, because that is absolutely a game changer. And it is the reason why I can go to the gym in the middle of the day. I can wake up without an alarm. And you can do those same things too, because we are now entering into we've been here, right? We are in a digital landscape. The best time ever of our lives, where we can earn an income based on our expertise and share it with everyone around the world. Okay. And so we're going to talk a lot about that in the Travel and Thrive, challenge. I forgot I need to put that in here. Go ahead and drop. So let me not do that. And if you want to join, the challenge is free. So this is my first time doing a free a free challenge. And I'm really excited about it because I feel like it's going to be super transformative and give you so much value. Travel and Thrive challenge. I'm not the best speller, guys. I also don't wait to post and copyright and edit and send things if it's not spelled right. That's just not me. I don't do it. And let me see if I can pin this comment. There we go. Bam. So if you have an interest, go ahead and visit the link or just comment travel, right? Comment Thrive, right? So comment Thrive if you want to join the challenge, okay? So the right time is never going to happen. Waiting for the perfect circumstance will always hold you back, right? It will always hold you back. How many of us said at the end of 2024, we were going to lose 3 kgs, right? I'm in South Africa, so we're on the metric system. How many of us said we were going to save $20,000 by the end of this year? Last year, right? Waiting to do anything is not going to get you there. And I'm not judging, right, Collins? I'm not judging. I've been there, right? There were so many things ideas that I had prior to getting into this work that, I said I was going to do. Oh, I'm going to do it. And I still have things. There are things that I have been saying I was going to do for a while that I haven't done. But it means that I am literally holding back a part of my life, because I do believe whatever religion you are in, or you subscribe to, when God puts a desire in your heart, the Creator manifests a desire to you in your heart, you are meant to do that thing. You are meant to receive that, or else you wouldn't have the desire. But when we hold ourselves back, because we have freedom of choice, which is the ultimate love that the Creator gives us, is to choose, we are the only reason why we haven't done the thing. It is not because of anything else but besides us, right? It's us that are keeping ourselves from our desire. Now, we can say it's money, we can say it's family, we can say it's a relationship, we can say it's job, but really, if we have to be honest with ourselves, it all stems back to us. We are creating the life that we live. And as ultimate infinite creators, we get to decide when things happen in our lives. No one is responsible for us outside of ourselves, unless we're children, right? And our parents are in charge, but we get to choose. And doesn't mean that these choices are easy, but it does mean that it is our job and our responsibility to have the courage that we need to be able to go ahead and do the thing. Okay? I'm trying to think. So, when was there? Oh, let me tell you a story. Okay, story time. I remember when I was getting ready to come back to the continent, my family, they weren't happy about it. I had already spent about a year in Dar es Salaam, and they were not happy. And because of that, I had to spend a lot of money being in the States, and I did not want to be in the States. I didn't want to be in the States. Like, that was just that. It wasn't home to me anymore. And because I had been there so long, I had spent so much money. And I did not feel having a level of confidence financially is something that was so important to me. And I was literally not sure how I was going to be able to get back, having spent the amount of money that I spent in America, because I had been there unintentionally and honestly against my will. But I knew I'm going to have to make it work because I am not staying here. And that was around 2021. So we know that, COVID was happening. There were a lot of grants. There were a lot of programs. There were a lot of loans available. And I had the idea to share my experience online of doing business here and my journey and my living experience. I didn't start sharing until I was in the States during that time, stuck. And I'll tell you that I ended up doing a couple videos on YouTube from October probably until February. Now I'm stressed out, guys. I'm sad, I'm depressed, I'm in a place I don't want to be. It's winter, I'm up north. It's like I'm not in a good place, but I know that there's a reason why I've been called to share this message. And my account is depleting. I'm like, I am just uncomfortable physically, mentally. My heart is aching because of the heartbreak that I was experiencing from family not being supportive. And, it's cold. Like, I don't want to be here. And about a week before I'm set to go, I receive a 5-figure deposit in my account from a loan that I had applied for a year before from my small business, right? That literally 2 days later, I was able to book my flight and get out, right? And be out of there and back in my home country of Tanzania. And so had I relied upon that old, how I felt when I first moved, I had a 6-figure savings. But now I'm in this place and I've got to do all of these things. My money is depleting. I knew that there was a reason why I was called to do the work and a reason why I needed to head back to my home country. And it was affirmed to me that You believe, you do the work without even knowing. And I was able to get that small business loan, which ultimately was the starter engine for Ashley in Africa, the Africa Investors Academy, which has now scaled into a 6-figure business 3 years later, right? Working part-time. Let's also say that, because I'm not hustling 60, 70, 80 hours a week. No, I work about 20 hours a week, right? Working part-time, building a 6-figure business. Okay. Hi, Elena. Yes, so good to see you. Thank you for commenting. What's up? Thank you for all of your affirmative words, your affirmative words. I appreciate you so much. And so that was me just kind of trusting in the work and saying, no, I believe in myself, and worst case scenario, I can always figure it out. But had I waited until I stacked money, I would have been more depressed. I would have been more probably in debt. I would have been more angry, more sad, right? All of these things would have happened if I were to wait at the benchmark that I thought I needed to be. Awesome. So tell me about a time in your life, right, where you know that this has also happened. You said, okay, I'm going to wait for it to be perfect. I'm going to wait for it to look like this. And you realize waiting would have probably cost you way more money. That's my story. And I'm sticking to it. So, when you're thinking about doing this, it requires small steps to be able to teach yourself you're trustworthy. Right? Small steps to be able to say, okay, I have a goal and I'm taking a step every single day towards that goal. And it doesn't require a massive leap. One of the things that I tell people, especially that are interested in relocating, is take a trip. Take a trip. There's 3 things. Take a trip, make sure your trip is 30 days or more, and open a bank account. If you think you want to live abroad, right? Because as an American, most countries you visit, you can stay for up to 90 days. Some are 30 days. But book your trip in a way that you can stay for 30 days and open a bank account. Those are small steps, but those are small steps towards the goal that don't have to be these drastic, drawn out, I'm selling everything, I'm leaving, I'm moving, I'm cutting off my phone number, that's not really necessary for most. It may be necessary for some, but it's not necessary for most. And so we're going to go through a lot of these concepts, like around, financial confidence. What is it going to cost you based on what it costs you now? Because we're not going backwards. This is not a travel and on a budget challenge. This is a travel and thrive, right? We want to see your lifestyle. Oh, this is this way. Yeah. We want to see your lifestyle increase. We want to see your quality of life increase, right? 30 days. A trip is amazing, but stay 30 days or more. I totally recommend it because you can't see a lot in a week. 2 weeks. And I know as Americans, we tend to only get 10 business days off, which is wild. So when we take a vacation, the last thing we want to do is spend a whole day traveling. Typically, we tend to stay in our comfort zone, right? So if you can, and I get it, everybody cannot, which is why we're also doing this Travel and Thrive conference and challenge, because I want to help you create tools in your life so that you can do what you want and thrive wherever you want. That's the ultimate goal, right? Freedom is the ultimate goal. Once you have matriculated through careers and you've got the titles and you have the influence and you've made the money, you realize that those things aren't really what you thought they would be, right? We all have to go through that. We all have to go through the learning process of getting all the things and remembering that they did tell us, money doesn't buy happiness. Freedom, true freedom to be able to wake up whenever you want, do what you want, where you want, with whom you want, is ultimately what we desire. And we're going to go through how you can start to build that business in the Travel and Thrive conference. So go ahead and comment Thrive if you want to get that link sent to you in your DMs. And it's also pinned below. So let's see. The next thing is like-minded communication and community, right? So like-minded community is so important when you're doing something as alternative as leaving the US or traveling to the continent of Africa. Both are very drastic, right? Because everything we've been taught about Africa is negative. All of it, right? All of it. All of it. I still debate with people about South Africa being so dangerous and this and that. That's not my experience. Are there parts of this country that are dangerous? Yes, just like every other country. Now, there are countries that are a lot less dangerous. I wouldn't say America is one of them, but I will say that being in community of like minds matters when you're doing something audacious as traveling to Africa and moving abroad. And so that community is good because people will criticize you and people are going to say, why are you doing that? That sounds weird. Why would you do that? And then you also need community to help you make decisions that are informed decisions. You don't want to get here and just be here and not knowing and making really bad mistakes. I see it happen all the time, and it is literally the worst situation that you could be in. So community is so, so important. And I have to say, one of the things that came from the last conference that we did around traveling, moving, and doing business in South Africa, people talked about that community being the best experience they had ever had. So much so that it was so overwhelming that they had to go back and like intentionally watch the replays because they were just so overwhelmed with the amount of community and support of people that wanted the same things that they wanted amidst the people that they knew their whole lives that couldn't fathom their desire to move or travel or do business in South Africa. And so again, this is something that I've learned through the process of sharing my experience online to understand what people need. And this is how you build a digital business, right? You find a problem and you solve it for people. And every single one of you guys on this live, and if you're watching the replay, you have solved someone's problem for free. And you don't have to get paid for everything. I'm not saying that, but I am saying if you solve one person's problem, you probably have solved two people's problem. So why not create an opportunity to receive the energy in return that you're giving out to help people solve problems? People will pay you to solve problems. You pay people every day to solve your problem. For your internet, for your educational purposes, for your entertainment purposes, you're paying people to solve problems. Why not let people pay you to solve theirs? All right. And so I'm going to teach you how you can do this effectively and efficiently where you're adding at least $1,000 to your income, your household income within 30 days. If you do the work, because it is easier now than it was when I started 3 years ago, and I can teach you how to do it. All right. So go ahead and share your biggest fears with me about traveling or moving, or questions about the Travel and Thrive conference. I'm going to go back and check some of these questions. Someone asked me, why did I move from Tanzania to South Africa? Well, when I was living in Tanzania, I was on a sabbatical. So I was not working. Like I said, I hadn't really started my business at the time, and I was just looking for rest. And that's exactly what Tanzania provided. It's a beautiful country. How many of you guys have like food hangovers? I totally do. So I'm having like ginger turmeric today. I'm not eating at all. I'm having ginger turmeric carrot juice today because I need to completely decompress. But so how many of you have, you just knew you needed a break? So everybody's doing these healing retreats for a week, a weekend. Listen, I needed 2 years. And I got my 2 years in Tanzania. And I love Tanzania, which is why I go back often. But for me, lifestyle, quality of life, it's not even quality because Tanzania is a beautiful quality of life for me. But professionally, when I got ready to get back to work, I knew I wanted to be in a metropolitan city. I wanted to be around a bit of energy where I felt like people were actively doing business and that I could do it alongside them without the language barrier. So Tanzania is a predominantly Swahili speaking country. And so doing business is not impossible with English, but it doesn't allow you to really connect with the people in the way that knowing Swahili does. So it just took me a lot longer to build my business in Tanzania, which is growing now. But I wanted to be in a place where I just felt like I could immediately like jump in and my skill sets were relevant. So I absolutely love, love, love Tanzania. And it's amazing. It's amazing. But I love South Africa too. And I get to travel and thrive between both places, right? So when you recognize that you have complete freedom because you have an online business and you can work from anywhere, you can live wherever you want. And I get to basically leave South Africa during the winter because I don't like winter now. I've realized that at my age, I don't want to do winter. And I get to live where I want and go where I want, whenever I want. That's amazing. And Miss Elena Long asked thoughts on education. So am I opting to homeschool or? So I did not start out homeschooling. I started with both of my girls in school at an international school immediately. Because coming out of the US, when COVID was happening, the schools were closed. But in Tanzania, they were not. So they started school like 2 weeks in. And it was everything. And they've been in school up until, I say, this middle of the year. The education system in Africa, right? Private school speaking, because that's been my experience, is exceptional. Far exceptional, far more exceptional than my experience of private school education in the US. For so many reasons. Rigor, international awareness, multiple languages spoken at a young age, just a lot better. And yeah, I love the educational system here. My youngest, though, as I started to travel a lot more, I recognized, one, structure was really important for my oldest daughter, who is 13. And she had already started with me when we were in the US, and I was very structured like this. I've changed a lot. I've evolved a lot just in my understanding of the world and what it means to actually be an entrepreneur and to be a global citizen. These structures are in place for people that follow the norm. And I realized I don't do that, right? I am an abnormal person living an alternative life that a structured lifestyle isn't really great for. Now I have structure in my life, but not in the ways that most people do, that kind of work a 9 to 5 and have like a weekly, daily, this is what the week looks like. This is what I move a bit more freely. And I love that for me. So for my youngest, she has been homeschooling for the last 5 months. And I'm not going to lie, it's okay. I'm not the best homeschooler. That's not my strength. I've hired some teachers to come and they love it. She loves it, but she loves school. So we're figuring that out. That's just it. She's doing school. She's doing extracurricular activities. She gets to come with me to work, which she loves when I do go to the office. I work out of WeWork shared space, which is a community feel for me. So long story short, yes, I love the education here, but I love the fact that they also get to experience things that they wouldn't experience. People from multiple different countries, speaking multiple languages, rigorous curriculum, learning history outside of just the typical Western history, the British history, right? Now we see what they're doing to history for Black Americans and Africans in the US, right? They get to see things differently just because we live in a different country. So that is, everything for me, and I love it. Who knows? Penelope may get into a school next year. The school year runs from January to December. And I don't know, we're figuring it out. But for now, she's 6, right? So we're not meeting any major benchmarks. She can speak, she can read, she knows her numbers, her colors, she's learning science. She loves division. She's also a digital media person. She's an artist. She's doing all of these things and she's getting to be her. She's getting to be a kid. And that's the best thing I think that that's the thing I'm most value. Like I love the most is she really gets to be her. She's not in a system that's requiring her to do certain things. And we have structure. Like I said, we have structure at home, but it looks different for her. And, I don't know. I love that for her. I hope that was helpful. Yes, really good point, Dina, about converting the currency. Ivory Coast says you'll be moving with your wife and 3 children. What is a monthly residual that will sustain you in the U.S.? We feel it will be a bit better fit for us as African Americans. Yeah, so go ahead and Google. That's one of the things we'll be doing in the conference. I can't tell you how much it will cost you because I don't know your current quality of life and your current cost of living. So knowing how much you're currently spending is really important to be able to say, okay, this is probably what it will look like within a range. And it also depends on where you're coming from. Are you coming from a big city or a smaller city? It can range anywhere from 30% to 80% less. But it just depends on your current situation. And I can't really tell you that over a live. Hi, big bro. Very interested in seeing what South Africa has to offer. Fantastic. So if you would love to learn more, you can absolutely head to my website, Africa Investors Academy, and download the replays. You don't even have to download them. You can watch them for a year, get all of the resources. South Africa has so much to offer, and we talked about it for 10 hours, over 10 hours of content, experts talking about visas, cost of living. I actually go through my personal formula of how to get your cost of living from wherever you are now to what it would look like in South Africa. So you should definitely do that if you really want more in-depth understanding of what that could look like for you. The replays are a lot more affordable than even a one-on-one with me. So I recommend doing the replays because there's so much value in those replays. And you can learn exactly, a lot of the questions that you're asking. Again, kind of going back to that digital business, many of you guys are asking me the same questions that I've figured out a solution to and figured out a way to add value to your lives by creating an immense amount of value in a product that is going to help you literally take your life to the next level. How affordable is private school in South Africa? Again, it depends. Affordable is relative, right? So there are some schools that aren't as expensive as others. It really depends. And then how have you raised your children? Have you raised your children to be very open-minded? My children were received very well. And so I think it's really up to you. And I don't know. I don't know you, so I'm not sure like how you are. But I will say that there is an unfortunate amount of people that tend to kind of come with their preconceived notions, and we have so much baggage coming from the US. We know it because we send around quotes around Black History Month and Juneteenth, and when, another unarmed Black woman or Black man loses their life, we know what stuff we're carrying in the US. But when we go to another country where we don't really have to carry that burden, we do. And sometimes it trickles down to our children. So how we are received really depends on the healing that we've done. The intentional healing work and processing of the trauma that we are experiencing as Black people in America, that will determine how you are engaged when you come to the continent and how your children are engaged, right? Fantastic. Wonderful. Hello, everyone. Welcome. It's amazing to have options. It is. And we need to know that we have them. That's the thing, is that we just don't know. We think that all there is what we have been given, what we have been told. And when we step outside of that, we realize like, oh, this is the option that I have. My family does not understand why I do not want to come back to the US, because they haven't seen what I've seen and experienced the peace that I have, the support that I have, the freedom that I have, the lack of anxiety and worry and depression, right? I don't have that. Wonderful. Well, thank you all so much for joining this live stream. Go ahead and comment Thrive for the private link to the Travel and Thrive Challenge. It's going to be amazing. This is my first free challenge. This is what I am doing for you for the holidays, right? It will never be the right time, but I will tell you, today is the day, and this week, these companies and corporations are depending on you to spend your dollars with them. I am going to challenge you to invest in yourself, invest in your education, invest in the next step for the best life that you imagine and envision for yourself and your family. Because you're not going to care about those things that you get, that TV, the shoes, the bags. You're not going to care about any of that whilst you have a desire in your heart that feels so big. Do yourself the favor of sitting still in this season and realizing that nothing is more, nothing feels better than achieving your goals. And if traveling, whether for a short period of time or moving abroad, is really what you desire, I would encourage you to invest that money in that experience, whether it's, in a course, whether it's in up-leveling your education. Doesn't have to be with me, right? It can be with anybody. But absolutely take advantage of the desire in your heart, and knowing that it is already yours if you're willing to do the work to get it, right? And so sacrifice is something that is required on this journey for a good amount of time. I won't say the entire time, but I will say the first year, if you are serious about doing something as audacious as this, it is going to require a level of sacrifice, a level of faith, a level of fortitude, okay? And community. And I cannot wait to see you in the Travel and Thrive Challenge, December 9th through the 14th. And a bonus day if you join the VIP, if you're really looking for the ultimate experience where you can come on and ask your questions with me live. It's only $100, $97. Go ahead and book that VIP experience, because you'll be able to get your questions answered directly with me. A special time every single day. All right. Wonderful. Thank you so much. And if you're catching the replay, share this. Actually, now share this with your husband, share this with your wife, share this with your family, someone that has thought about this. If you've been talking about this and you're feeling it in your heart, go ahead. Let's make a move, because now is the time. The perfect time will never come. If you're feeling it, you need to take action now. All right, guys, until the next video.